Hello everyone and welcome to The No Show. I'll be your host Nathan Orenstein, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is written by Christopher McQuarrie and Erik Jendresen, directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and stars Tom Cruise, Hayley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Esai Morales, and Klementieff. An experimental artificial intelligence, referred to as the Entity, that's housed on a Russian submarine goes rogue and causes the submarine to essentially blow itself up. The Entity, now sentient, is capable of altering digital information and presenting it as reality, which could be incredibly dangerous if it fell into the hands of the wrong government or group of people. Ethan Hunt is tasked with retrieving the two pieces of the key required to access the Entity and returning the completed key to the US. Right off the bat, I gotta say that this is the goofiest Mission Impossible movie from a story perspective, in my opinion at least. Yes, it is very timely with the fear of both fake news and artificial intelligence already permeating the world today, but the way that Dead Reckoning presents the Entity is a little too over the top, even for Mission Impossible standards. It's by no means a deal breaker, and some people might not even be bothered by it at all, but for me, it ultimately became one of those stories that I kinda had to turn my brain off for. The Entity has also selected a man named Gabriel, played by Esai Morales, to basically be its conduit in order to help it achieve world domination. Like I said, it's pretty damn goofy, and Gabriel is about as stereotypical spy movie bad guy as they come. The writing and directing also veer into melodrama a bit too often, but at least it's pretty fun. Sorry to start the review off on a bit of a negative note, because I promise that I love this movie. Ethan, Benji, and Luther are of course all here, and Ilsa and the White Widow return again as well. They're all great as usual, but I was most pleased to see Vanessa Kirby get a lot more screen time as the White Widow. The main newcomer here is Hayley Atwell, who plays Grace, a thief that eventually becomes Ethan's ally. I honestly wasn't super into her character, but I do think that Atwell's chemistry with Cruise did add a fun element to the scenes they shared together. There isn't a very big emotional element at the core of this one, but the cast of characters is just as likable as ever and helps to keep the film grounded. Of course, the reason you're watching a Mission Impossible movie is for the action though, and Dead Reckoning more than delivers in that regard. I won't spoil any of the insane set pieces, but there's a really nice variety to them, and it's nice to see that the aging franchise still has some incredibly exciting tricks up its sleeve. An interesting thing I noticed with Dead Reckoning specifically is that the film doesn't really have all that many distinct scenes, especially for a movie that clocks in at nearly 3 hours. Instead, each scene really feels like it gets all it could possibly get out of the scenario, for better or worse. I'll admit some scenes did feel like they went on for a bit too long, but most of them continued to add exciting new elements that justified the length of them. Ultimately, Dead Reckoning, to me at least, felt like it was closer to an hour and a half than to 3 hours. This thing absolutely flew by, and I think the decision to keep the number of set pieces lower really helped the movie's pacing quite a bit. Some other random thoughts I had that might sway you one way or the other. McQuarrie's direction feels a bit old school with this one. I'm not really sure how else to describe it, but I think it adds a playful element to the film that maybe takes a bit of the edge off. It worked for me at times, but didn't really work at others. This is also easily the funniest Mission Impossible movie. It doesn't enter comedy territory or anything like that, but I laughed a lot more than I expected to, which I'm not really sure what to do with that info, but it felt share-worthy. The music in this one is probably the best in the franchise, and I honestly found myself wishing for the score to come back in some of the more quiet moments. And finally, regarding the fact that this is a part 1, I feel like a reasonable concern is that this won't feel like a complete story, or that it'll end on a major cliffhanger. Obviously, due to the nature of this being part 1, it isn't a complete story. But the movie also ends in a place that feels natural and like a good stopping point before the next one. It's not a cliffhanger at all, and I think it's a satisfying place to stop for now. All in all, Dead Reckoning is a very worthy entry to a prestigious franchise, and one that begs to be watched by any action movie fan, period. Yeah, sometimes the story, acting, and dialogue can enter goofy territory, and some of the new characters aren't the best, but my criticisms pretty much end there. The action and creative set pieces more than make up for all that though, and Dead Reckoning probably moves with the best pace of any of the films in the franchise. It's not my favorite Mission Impossible movie, but it's a great one nonetheless, and one of the best movies of the year, hands down. I'm going to be giving Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed the review, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've already seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I've been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.